And quietly the clock ticks on. It is time to go live. So here I am, people. I am live. I'm sorry, I was nearly too late because I'm trying several things at once, which is never a good idea, to be honest. But the main focus for today is the stream. And I would like to start off with a request. Yeah, that didn't sound right. I'm sorry. I would like to start off with a request. Now, I've been made aware of another file sharing platform, library.tv, and it's spelled in the most interesting of way. Well, it's not that interesting. And I would like to ask you, good people of the interwebs, but especially the people in the chat, guys, could you look at it and see what you think? You don't have to do that right away, obviously, but in the coming days, could you look at it? I'll put a link in the whatchamacallit, the chat. You can use that link to go check it out. Is my volume quiet again? Oh, for fuck's sake. It's always something in it. I'm not sure if it needs a special client. I mean, yes, I have an app for it, but it seems to work on a browser as well, but that could be coincidental. So yeah, maybe it does need. If so, I have it installed anyway, so I don't really notice much. It's a free program, as far as I know. It's a free program. I should be louder now, by the way. Better now, Michael. After all, you are my sound man, so. And my tweets to be fact checked. What did I tweet that was factually incorrect? Oh, that's. I should try something else then. Let me have a moment, because I do think I posted the link in our Discord server as well. Let me put it like this. Place blah boop. Is no, you bloody program. I don't like Google. Google doesn't like me. I guess we're not each other's friends. Lena Dunham has written a book. Well, yeah, she has, but we're not here to talk about the molester. And in all fairness, she was a child when she molested her way younger sister. So, for some reason, when it's a woman that did it, we need to be forgiving. Fair enough, but it's not so much the book of Lena Dunham I'm going to talk about. It's the phrase that I'm going to be talking about. White might be. Well, yeah, it could have been a ghostwriter. Yes, right could have been an overstatement. But, as I said, it's not so much about Miss Dunham, so maybe I need to change it a little bit. Is this better? It's not really much better, but okay, fair enough. Because it's the phrase that I want to talk about. See, the thing is that when you want to insult a man, you call him a boy. I don't know why, but it seems to work, so why not? Does that then automatically mean that if you want to insult a woman, you call her a girl? Here comes in the interesting bit. No. Now, there are women that will be offended when you call them girls. But the thing is that there's a very large majority of women that kind of like to look at themselves as girl and not as women. And that's something that should make us all wonder. Now, feminism and whatever happened before feminism has done nothing but infantilize women. And what does that mean? Well, it means it makes women less responsible. But it also removes the ability of growth from women. So one is to ask themselves, why is this happening? So if we look at the feminist movement, they keep pushing the idea that women are equal to men, but then still talk about themselves, on average, as girls. Unless, of course, when a man does it, because then the man needs to be pointed out they are women, but on average, they still refer to each other as girls. And it's funny because, and I was talking with my wife about this, and she made a very good point. When we look at the development of men, you're a boy, but your goal is to be a man. So, even young boys will try to do what they can to come across older, more mature. But the value of women seems to be in their early years, when they're young, attractive, and can bear children easily. Is this why older women prefer to think of themselves as girls? And it's something to think about. I had hoped some of you would have wanted to join in this talk, because I'm curious what other people think. But if we look at the most iconic women performers out there, they constantly refer to themselves as girls. Even in some of the more powerful songs. Women hold up half the world. Okay, fair enough. That's women. But who runs the world? Girls, girls. And if we want to look at girl power, Spice Girls, they're not girls. Why do they portray themselves as girls? It's not the patriarchy that makes them want to stay young. It is true that young women have a different value to a society than older women, just like young men have a different value to society than older men. Now, in all fairness, that's basically biology. I mean, you can't say this is because of feminism or because of the patriarchy or whatnot. But young women have a tendency to bear children easier. Young men can be the father of children, but so can old men. Now, for raising children, the younger a man, the easier it is to keep track of the child and stay with the wife. But an old man can still impregnate a young woman. The older the woman gets, the harder it is for them to become a mother. So, biologically speaking, there's a reason why young women, girls, by whatever means, but I'm going to stay with young women, have an intrinsic value. And that is bigger than that of old women. I'm pretty sure that this is also the reason why older women often turn against younger women. Because in younger women, they see what they have lost. Whereas when we look at men, older men do not turn against younger men, because older men see in younger men also what they have lost, but what they have lost, they didn't lose in a negative way. They lost their youth, their how do you call it, their impulsivity. But with it, or replacing it, came wisdom. So for men to grow older, the things that come with age, men on average see as a positive thing. Whereas certain women, hashtag not all, but certain women don't see getting older as a positive thing. Is it therefore any wonder? Can we blame women, especially around the age of, let's say, 30, 40? Can we blame them when they are indeed falling for the trap of trying to stay young? I personally am going to say no. I don't think we can blame women for that. I mean, it is partly biological, and young women are more attractive to men, whether they are young or old. Now, funny enough, old men are more attractive to young women because they build securities. Young men do not have those securities yet. And young women are attractive to both young and old men. Why? Because they can produce offspring. It's all evolutionary. Funny enough, and this is the downside of things like feminism, it goes against everything that evolution has told us. Feminism tells you, no, old men perv on young women because they're pervs. Not because purely biologically young women have a bigger chance for creating offspring. Young women look at older men as potential partners more than young men because older men have, well, they've got their life in order. They have a job, they have income, they usually have a house. These are things that bring safety. Women look for safety in a partner. Men and women look for different things. There is nothing wrong with that. But how come even feminists, because this is a book title of Lena Dunham, we all saw it. Lena Dunham praises herself as being a feminist. I mean, I guess it's better to praise yourself as being a feminist than being a pedophile, but other than that, she praises herself as being a feminist, and still, she seems to think of herself as a girl. No, I'm not that kind of girl. Now, the subtitle, A Young Woman Tells What She's Learned, learning obviously being hyphenated, because if there is no risk factor, why would you want to learn? And this is kind of what we see happening with feminism. They talk a good deal, but they don't learn. Stop pushing old, outdated gender roles. Well, maybe that is true. Maybe I am pushing old, outdated gender. And not so much gender roles, but positions. Because let's be honest, women older and men older have a different position in our society than the younger ones. Why would we not want to recognize this? And indeed, as Green Badger said a moment ago, in order to become a man, a boy, must become stoic. He must become independent. He must, well, maybe not employed, but definitely able to fulfill the needs, the financial needs of running a household. And indeed, a girl is considered a woman after she starts bleeding, which can happen when she's 12, so fair enough. That is maybe a little bit young to be calling them women. Now, obviously, there are all sorts of created reasons or created barriers from threshold from girl to woman and boy to men. But on average, we see that boys tend to want to be older. And men tend to be what they are, where women tend to want to be younger. Or pretend that they're younger. Because by being younger, they add value to self. So you prefer gender roles. Fucking hell. Tuna wraps. Okay, there I was thinking you said something serious. Stupid me. And yes, tuna rolls are good too. Thank you, Ludicrous. But seriously though, this is something to think about. What is it in our current society that makes women at one point scream to be noted, to be seen as be seen as an adult, as a grown person, whilst at the same time demeaning themselves? Why is it that they have this double standard? Now, if I'm going to give a broad answer, I'm going to say because they've never had to be adults. But that obviously is hyperbolic. And again, hashtag not all is definitely applicable in this situation. It does, however, seem to make sense. There are women who are perfectly alright to don the mantle of victim and then talk to everyone because they need to fix it because she's the victim. And if we look at young girls, when a young girl comes running, boys go to protect. Is the personality of a woman what Jung described as duality of human? Now that's a very good question. I haven't really thought of that. It could be. Now we know that if we're talking about now I forgot the phrase, archetypes. If we talk about archetypes, old women tend to be the caring mother or the conniving witch, the mean stepmother, blah blah blah. You know the storylines. Now the conniving witch, blah blah blah, as a old woman is seen predominantly as negative, but the fairy godmother is predominantly seen as positive. Now what's the difference between those two? Well, they're both old women, but one of them envies the younger woman, where the other one tries to help the young woman move forward into a new life. And this is what feminism is doing as well. Unfortunately though, feminism isn't the fairy godmother that is trying to help women into the next life. Feminism is the conniving mother-in-law or the witch that wants to harm young women that do not do as she has set out for them to act. And if they don't act as we see, then obviously she's going to try to harm them. And then women need a prince to save them. And the prince doesn't need to save the princess from any threat other than the old woman. Archetypes are really fun. They are. Sounds like a gross oversimplification to me. People in real life tend to be more complex and a mixture of good and bad. Well, that's the thing with archetypes, John. Archetypes are basically stereotypes. And because they are stereotypes, that's what makes them so recognizable. Whilst at the same time, no one knows someone like the Wicked Witch of the West or the Fairy Godmother, because, again, those are stereotypes. They're zoomed in and magnified, so to speak. But they do tell a story. And is that story that's being told by that stereotype, by that archetype, really that wrong? Because if we look at most of the fairy tales, it's a woman, and for that woman to reach independence, she needs to bind herself to a man. And that man, even though the fight between the young woman and the old woman isn't done by the man may have an influence in it, but in the end it's the young woman that needs to stand up against the old woman. Funny enough, evolutionarily speaking, this is also what we see. And if we look at how women work through a hierarchy compared to how men work through a hierarchy, women tend to be more conniving, more backstabby, more plotting. where men just stand up and fight. And once the fight is over, everyone knows what the positions are. Okay, we can live with that. This is one of the reasons why when two men fight, after the fight is over, the fight is over. But when two women fight, you know it's going to drag on. It's a personality trait. Wicked Witch of the West, you mean Annette Kahane? I have no idea. That name doesn't ring a bell to me. I'm sorry. But yeah, it could be. Wicked Witch of the West was from... What was it? Oh, No Place Like a Home. I forgot the story. Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz. That's the one. That's the Wicked Witch of the West. Well, it's just one of the many archetypes like that. I mean, we've got the Wicked Witch of the West. We've got Maleficent from the one with the thorn. There's too many of them. Don't get me wrong, there are lots of stories with fairy godmothers as well. But somehow feminism has always seemed to have aligned themselves with the Wicked Witch of the West rather than with the fairy godmother. And that's because the fairy godmother is pushing individuality. It would like to see the young girl grow and be happy and becoming who she is. Where the Wicked Witch always wants to stunt growth and prevent the woman from reaching what she could be. She wants the woman to become what she is. And this is something, if we're talking about archetypes and the imagery that feminism kind of tries to prevent, this is what they always come... Yes, archetypes. Okay, sorry John, you're right. I like archetypes though. But you're correct, it's archetypes. I know, you're correct. Would you want a furry godmother? Men don't care about godmothers. On average, men wouldn't like to have a godmother at all. Oh, I've heard this story so often. People talking about how their life is like a fairy tale. Every time I go home, there's a wicked witch. But those are jokes. Oh, 1 second, because it seems that my boy is coming upstairs to wish me a good night, I guess. Eirik, kom maar. Kom maar. Mwah. Welterusten. Eirik, doe maar hoi zeggen.
Hoi.
Hallo.
Hallo.
Ja, jij kan hun niet horen, hè? Nou, ga maar lekker naar bed toe, lieve schat.
Hallo.
Hey, ga maar lekker naar bed. Nee, niet aankomen. Okay, sorry for the interruption, but that was my little boy. And he should have been in bed an hour ago, but he's going to bed in a moment. Oh, and I have absolutely no idea where I was with my train of thought. Give me a sec to catch up.
Wicked Witch coming home.
Anyway, to bring it back to the woman-girl thing. Feminism and feminists prefer to see themselves as prototype women. Now, obviously, there are no prototype women, just like there are no prototype men. But there are several forms, several groups we can point out. Feminists always seem to portray themselves as the one to tell the world, this is how you need to act. Whereas this is the action of the Wicked Witch. Whereas free, liberal, true liberal women, libertarian, whatever you want to call them, because liberal means something else at one side of the world than in the other side, but women that are truly for freedom will talk to their daughters and, okay, what is it you want? What is your goal? What are you working for? One is about control, where the other one is about growth. I have yet to meet a feminist that can talk about what women need to do in a way that they are expressing a form of growth for women. they're always talking about control. Now, I know that there will be people who will start talking about Christina Hoff Sommers. I know she still calls herself a feminist. Trust you me, there isn't a feminist in the world that considers Christina Hoff Sommers a feminist. Funny enough, Christina Hoff Sommers talks about the responsibilities of women. What do you want to do? How do you see your future? Unlike women like, hell, even Anita Sarkeesian, she's young. Yeah, she's young. And she tells you what you need to do and how you need to think. And if you don't do it, you're not a good feminist. Again, old. The good witch, or the fairy godmother, the wicked witch of the West, or Anita Sarkeesian. Obviously, I can give other feminists names in this as well. I mean, you look at people like Clementine Ford from Australia. She lies just about everything she says. She tries to destroy both men and women because she feels that she's correct. I'm sorry, but if that doesn't make you a wicked witch of the West, I am curious what would. And okay, I know spells and magic, but those things aren't real. Feminists, unfortunately, are. But if we look at, and don't get me wrong, you can have strong women that are not feminists that are still nasty women, of course. But the question is, why are they nasty? And do we really have to look at Clementine Ford? I could make a joke that if you want to shoot something, you need to aim at it. But no, you don't have to look at her at all. Don't worry. I don't think anyone wants to look at Clementine Ford. That's probably why she still hasn't been shot. No, people, don't go out and shoot Clementine Ford. It is a joke. This is going to get nasty. Then again, my channel is small enough, no one will ever see this other than you guys. But it is interesting to see how feminism has constantly tried to portray itself as the movement for the benefit of all women, and yet they haven't really done anything to help women. The thing they've mostly done is tell women how to think, what to say. Because if they don't, you're not a woman. More of the rules concerning women come from feminists. Yeah, but society. No. Don't go towards society. But you know, only feminists are allowed of joking. Yeah. Well, it would be very hard to shoot someone on the other side of the world and without a gun. All challenges, I'm not going to rise up and meet them, even though I'm pretty sure I could find ways. I'm not going to do it, because then people might think we're actually serious about it. Which probably isn't that bad an idea to be serious about, but no. Anyways, I was just thinking about this, and I'm curious what you guys think about this. I think I'm going to call this ramble over, and I'm going to pay a little bit of homage to the new website I was talking about. Where am I? That's that. Okay, that one. Yeah, that's rubbish. See, I'm new to this, but I'm going to show it to you because I am curious what you guys think. And I am... If they actually proposed improvement, they would have to end their lucrative campaigning. That's probably true. That's probably why feminism never did anything to help anyone, especially not women. But that's just me thinking out loud, I guess. Anyway, I'm going to show you what I was talking about earlier. This is Library TV. It's a cryptocurrency-based website, video sharing site. I don't care about the cryptocurrency. It's not big. It's nowhere near as big as YouTube, let's be honest. But they claim to be for free speech. Now, Cocoscope once did the same, and I really enjoyed Cocoscope until the moment they said, okay, but yeah, no, you can't say this and you can't say that. Library TV has been going on for a few years already, and it has people like John Stossel. I uploaded one of my older videos. I doubt anyone has seen it yet on this channel. But I would like to ask everyone that comes here, could you do me a favor and see if you can subscribe to me? Let me know about your experience, because I'm looking into whether I would put more effort into yet again another platform, but it has to be worth it. So my request, my humble request to all of you here today is, if in the coming weeks you have a moment to look at it, please let me know. Now, other than that, I have nothing left that I want to talk about. Anyone wants to say something? Because if not, then I'm just going to call it quits for today. I can't load the page, get an empty page, return. Even if you click on the link in the Discord server. I am curious, because this is the sort of stuff I am trying to figure out. Anyway, let me know what you think about the library TV thingy in our Discord server. This is where I am going to call it quits. I need to take a bio break anyway, and what with me being alone, I may as well call it quits then. That's really strange, though, Michael. Let's hang out in a moment, and then let's look at it together, because I am curious about this. But for now, I am going to close the stream, and I hope to see you all next time. Thank you for joining me.